My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
I'm not saying every deadbeat dad does that, because once again, remember, she says everybody thinks you're such a great father. So there's a perception that this dude is a great dude. Like everybody else says you're such a great dad. But I know the truth. Do you know what a great father looks like? Obviously not, because it seems like you made bad decisions before. And they made bad decisions getting with you too. So I'm not just making them her the bad guy, but do better. What up, what up, what up, what up? It's Three Brothers No Sense. I am Tavares Ferguson, a.k.a. Ferg. Join my co-host, Razi and Buff. Fellas, tell them what's on your minds.
First off, I know I'm late. We talked about Stranger Things years and years and years ago, but season 4 dropped, and I'm finally catching up, and I just forgot how dope Stranger Things is. It is, like, super dope. So if you haven't gone out and watched Stranger Things, go out there, man. It is, like, super nostalgia when it comes to like the 80s and everything else, from the fashion, hanging out at the skating rink. I mean, they talk about new Coke. I mean, it's just like so much nostalgia for us in there, and like Haley loves it too when it comes to it. So the whole family can sit and watch it. My kids even watched a little bit of it. Got a lot of cursing in it, so just know that if you're gonna have your kids watching it. But it's super dope, man. So really wanted to just bring that up and make sure everybody knows how awesome it is. And finally, once again, got another gunshot victim, Jalen Walker in Akron, Ohio. Police shot him 60 times while he was running away. I know there's some contention over the whole whether he shot at the police or not and all of that. Come to find out, he didn't have a gun on him, so they're saying they thought he shot at them, or he shot at them when he was in the car. But it comes down to, man, it's still tiring to think about, to hear every other day. We had a shooting at a Pride Parade as well. 6 people died from that. I was hearing the whole what side of the political spectrum he was on and whether he was Antifa or not. My whole thing on it is I don't care which side of the political spectrum he's on, because ultimately it still comes down to the guns are the problem. I mean, we can talk all day long about whether he was Antifa and supported this people, or he was, a gun rights advocate and conservative and whatever. But when it comes down to it, we still need to figure out to do something about this, man, because I'm just tired. I'm tired of it in general. I had to get that off my chest so then I can actually have some fun in this episode. So that's all I got, man.
Good stuff. I just want to give a shout out to Miss Erica Barrett. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. She attended the high school we did, LaFleur, and she's doing big things. She has the restaurant in Mobile. I think she's opened up one in Atlanta and Birmingham. So cool. We actually were going to try to record there live, so I hope we're able to do that eventually one day. But she's opening up another pizza joint called Doughboy in Birmingham. So it's just been from afar watching her grow her business. I remember when she opened that first So Cool in Mobile, and now it's expanded to what it has. I know she couldn't be happier. I'm sure it's a lot of hard work. I've always heard the restaurant industry is like one of the toughest to succeed. Like the failure rate is vast. So congratulations to her. Continue to do your thing, and hope we're able to do something, some type of collab with your restaurant, whether it's recording there or whatever the case may be. So congratulations to you. And other than that, man, just want to tell the listeners on Inspire You on our podcast, follow us on Facebook, Three Brothers No Sense, Instagram, same name, Twitter at Brother Sense. I'm telling you, we have some of the best followers on social media. Like, there are times, I know people always type LOL in a text message or on a post. There are times I'm like literally laughing out loud, not just typing it. Like, some of the responses and comments on our posts be dope as hell, man. So if you're not following us, you're missing out. So check us out, Three Brothers No Sense on social media.
Definitely, brothers. Yeah, our listeners are dope. Actually, our followers are dope too. It's just they keep me rolling. It gets me through the day just to see. I try to wait and let the comments build before I go in there and poke the bear. But it keeps me rolling. So on another note, I want to piggyback. Stranger Things is dope. I don't know if you're caught up, Razi. I get more frustrated hearing the political sparring that goes with the whole mass shootings than the shootings themselves at this point. Soku is awesome. Keep it up, Erica. We haven't made it on. We haven't done anything with you yet, but we do give you our money, so keep it up. And have you guys heard about the new movie with Viola Davis coming out? The Woman King?
Yes. Yep.
Dude, it looks super dope. I'm excited. It's something different. You know, it's about the female warriors. How do you pronounce it? Dahomey? But it looks like it's a great movie. I hope they do it justice. Yeah, Dahomey and Amazon. So I'm excited about it. Comes out September 16th. I'm going to get my ticket as soon as possible so I can be there. Not front and center, middle and center. Nobody goes into the front row of the movie theater. But outside of that, Razi, Sophie's on vacation.
Yeah. So y'all got me, but I just real quick, what's the difference between a good burger and a shooting star?
Got it. We got nothing.
A burger might be meaty, but you know the other's a little meatier.
You know what? And I actually was like, man, there was a lot of anticipation. This one might be good. I thought this one was going to be good, Razi.
You thought, man, that was good. Meteor, you get it? Meteor. So anyway, let's go, man. What we got?
As always, we do get it. We get it.
Yeah, I don't know why you continue to ask that question. It's not. Have you realized it's not if we get it or not? It's just we get it. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we had a great episode last week. I had a lot of fun. Had Fred Maxie on the show. And the conversation got so good that I think that's the first time we've only gotten through one subject. Is that correct?
Might have been, yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
I mean, it was well worth it. I mean, it was a conversation that needed to be had. And I think it was a great example of separating, whether we agree with Fred or not, is separating your moral or emotional ties to things to the legal system and how things really work. So we need to do more of that to educate ourselves on the facts and understand what next steps are outside of just, being emotional or morally high and leaving it at that. So, but with that being said, we only got through one question for you guys, but we did have a second question. So, Razi, you want to go ahead and cue that one up, or you just want to jump back into it?
Yeah, we can just jump back up into it. I think you'll cue it up at the beginning of the segment. So yeah, let's jump in it.
I want to try one more. I think this might be quick. I mean, we got to talk about the viral video really fast.
Oh my God.
We got to go there because it's just it's amazing how, and I don't even know everybody's opinion here, but when you see it, you're like, oh yeah.
Go and explain the video.
Go after her. Quick. Have you seen the video for it? The one with the young lady in the McDonald's? Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and explain it for us, Buff.
Oh,
You're storyteller.
I mean, basically, a woman of 4, one of her baby daddies brought his kid, just his kid, McDonald's. And if you go by her narration, he's been doing it like for a week now. And so this was the day she took her stand, pulled out her phone, and I guess put him on blast and said, you can't bring food for just one. If you're not going to bring enough food for everybody, then don't bring none at all. And she has released another video, which just makes me further know that she's a clown, because now she's just trying to, become a star or whatever. But she made a second video where she doubled down on it, and she just pretty much says, hey, either bring enough for all or none at all. And that's petty to just bring food for just one kid.
All righty. So
strong opinions on this one. This one has, but
are you surprised how strong some of the opposing opinions were?
I shouldn't be, but I am. Like that.
Okay.
Like no, you're making that face, but like there are people, I've seen some posts where people have said, unfriend me if you think it's okay not to bring all the kids food. Like, damn.
Done. So where do you guys stand on this?
So as a dad who has had to do this, been in that situation, right? Like I've had to go when I'm picking up Haley or I'm bringing Haley food, Addie's there. Am I going to drop food off for both kids? Like I've been in that situation. And so what I will say is it depends on how often I'm bringing food. If I'm bringing food one-offs, I probably would say, hey, I'm gonna bring Addie some too. Because I was in a situation where I only saw Haley once a month anyway. So, I'm coming down for the weekend, I'm stopping by, I'm gonna drop off some food or whatever. I'm probably going to bring food enough for Addie to eat. But if it's something where I'm coming to get Haley, then I'm coming to get Haley. I ain't coming to get Haley and Addie, and we're gonna go somewhere because I'm trying to spend time with my daughter. But if I'm dropping off food every day for a week, I ain't got it like that to feed 4 kids. I ain't got it to where I'm bringing enough food for 4 kids every day. It's not my responsibility. It's not my role. I'm making sure my child eats, and that's all that I can do. If you have a problem with it, and I get her point. She has a problem with her kids, one of them eating McDonald's and the other one's not. Fine. Hey, I'm gonna send your son out. Y'all eat in the car or something like that. You take him around the block, you hang out with him for an hour on your lunch break, take him to go get something to eat, and then bring him back. So I get where she's coming from, but it's just
a path. She wouldn't let him do that though.
But yeah, she wouldn't let him do that either. She wouldn't let him take him. She wouldn't let him take the child, and then she wouldn't let him bring the food for his son to make sure his son can eat, because her stamps don't come in to the 11th. So I think that's what they came in. So it
was the 7th at first, but then it was the 11th. I'm just throwing it out there.
So probably I'm 100% on his side. He needs to feed his kid and make sure his son eats. He can't worry about those other kids.
Well, Razi, you trash for letting the other kids starve, according to some women. And ladies, you see what Razio just said? So be careful who you procreate with. Those are kind of takes that out.
Who's next?
Let the guests go. What you got, Fred?
Yeah, me personally, I same as Razi. My my oldest little girl's mom, she has another son, and I didn't see her as often. I live in Texas. They live in Louisiana. And the same thing, if I was going to see her and he wanted something, I'm going to bring it. And I'm just that guy anyway. I'll feed the village if I can. I'll feed anybody. But is he wrong? Of course not. And like I say, my little girl's mom had one more son. This chick said she had 3 more kids or something like that.
Yeah.
So if I buy my son McDonald's, I'm probably going to get you a pack of ramen noodles or something. And you're going to have to feed these kids 4 packs of ramen noodles or something. I'm not buying $60 worth of McDonald's every day to feed 4 kids. I'll get you some ramen noodles to make sure they don't go hungry, though.
Yeah.
Every day, Fred.
Yeah. At that point, I maybe would have spent $50 and went and got grocery shopping for the week and be like, boom, here's groceries for the week so that you can feed the rest of the kids. But my son wants McDonald's. I'm gonna bring him some McDonald's. I don't know.
Buff.
The biggest issue I had with this video was, one, all of the people making these complete personality narratives about this brother off of a 4-minute video that's one-sided and posted by a person that has an agenda. Black people especially have been in way too many situations with law enforcement, just everyday life, to where we should know better than to jump to conclusions. She had an agenda. She said it, as he was pulling up. So all we have is her word to go by. For all we know, because people were like turning into, so he just let the other kids starve. She might got a refrigerator full of food and just ain't feel like cooking. You know what I mean? Like, for all we know, his son could have just made the team, made straight A's. He wanted to treat him. We don't know his financial situation. Like, all 4 of us, I feel like we're in a position to where, yeah, we probably could bring enough food for everybody. He may not have it like that. Gas is $5 a gallon now. So I just feel like she's a clown, because if you're going to put anybody on blast, put the other 3 baby daddies that ain't doing anything for the kids. So the one baby daddy that is doing something, because you notice, for as much talking as she did and as loud as she was, the one time she got quiet is when he asked, "Where the other baby daddies at?" She had no response.
Well, those are her response was, those are his siblings. She got
remarkably quiet. And I get it. Those are... What's up?
The one thing she said that described it all, she told him at some point in that video, "You knew who I was when you had a baby with me."
And he like, "No, I didn't. Like, I didn't know that I was going to be feeding the rest of your kids." I don't know any time that's come up in a conversation.
But to sum it up, the reason I call her a clown is because everybody's saying it's wrong for one kid to be eating this McDonald's in front of the other kid. The man offered, he said in the video, "Okay, bring my son out here." That's no different. So they have different baby daddies. So you telling me when he comes to pick up his son for the weekend, if they have that arrangement, does he have to take all 4 kids? I mean, because his son going to be eating McDonald's while they not then. So it's kind of the same scenario. Let the son eat the McDonald's away from the other kids. They don't have to see it, because I know how kids can be with the taunting and stuff like that. They don't have to see it. But she didn't even want him to do that. So she just wanted to go viral, which she has. And I just think she's a clown. But I don't condemn anyone that agrees with her. I'm trying not to do that when people have a difference of opinion. I just think he wasn't obligated. But if he had it, it definitely would have been a nice gesture to bring enough for all the kids, but he's not obligated.
There's a lot to unpack here. First of all, and I put this on a post earlier, is we have to realize that people have different parental priorities. As parents, as much as I love your kids, whatever, my priority is to my child as the father. Her priority are to her 4 kids. Do you see where those don't align? You can't make my priorities your priorities. I could understand. I'm going to try to understand what a mother might feel like to watch one of her kids eat and not the other 4. But I also would think that a mother who's worried about her kids eating will try to come up with a viable solution to that, rather than attacking what it seems like her only chance to get some assistance. She was more focused on exposing this guy because he didn't meet her needs, or her priorities weren't his priorities. And that's the problem. I've been in that situation where if you can't do it, I'm not going to let one kid suffer. I get it. But there are so many different ways she could have played this. And I expect 3 more videos or 2 more videos, however many baby daddies. There should be a video for every baby daddy. Or this video should have been different, and she should have showed this to the other baby daddies and like, this is my expectation of you. Charles, you got Monday. Buff, you got Tuesday. Fred, you got Wednesday. Razi, you got Thursday. Can you help me get to the 11th? Razi said he's going to bring food for the kids on Tuesday. Or if y'all all just give me $20, I'll make sure they eat into the... None of that. It was, you're trash. Here's my expectation. Because we know our expectation, because like Fred said, she said it. When you got with me, you knew I was trash. That's all she said. I get where a lot of people are coming from because they came in those households where, you know, people have to make ends meet. But that's not his obligation. You don't know how many more. He might have had 3 more bags of McDonald's in that car because he might be future junior. He might be making more stops. You don't know what's going on in his life. But what we do know is his kid needed to eat and he was feeding his kid. And based off their interaction, I'm not just about to give in to you because your kids didn't eat. Once again, priorities. Feed my child. Check. He did his part. Feed your 4 kids. X. She dropped the ball. It's just that simple. The fact that we are calling him trash, and I don't want to get into like black men, you know, we need to stop coming down on black men, but it's like we get on black men for not being there. This man literally showed up. Like literally showed up. You know, and she expected him to show up because she made a video because like he's on his way. It wasn't a surprise. He did everything you asked black men to do. You asked us to show up. He showed up. He was dependable, but he didn't meet the standards that you wanted. I get it. In a perfect world, we don't want any kid to feel left out. We don't want any kid to feel different. I can imagine the pain as a mother or whoever, and you're trying to make your kids feel wanted and welcome, and that's not the way to go about doing it. You can have your opinion that he should have fed the other kids or he should be willing to help. And we don't even know if he's willing to help. I can tell you somebody who wants to help the world. If she would have came at me like that, screw her, screw the other 3 kids. Your mama made you miss your blessing. It happens. Let's call it what it is. I see that so many times when it comes to parenting or co-parenting or single parenting is one parent has an idea of how things should go. And if it doesn't go your way, then you're trash. I guarantee she would in a house and talk noise about the daddy in front of the child because she made a video on it. Like, that's the thing. Like, respect your father. There's nothing positive about that video. Nothing. Where are the other baby daddies? Like you said, when he brought those up, because I'm looking at him, I was just as confused as he was. Like, are we really having this conversation? Are you really videoing me, trying to expose me for bringing food to my kid? This is a bad thing? Like, I gotta be on Candid Camp. There has to be a joke. Where is everybody else? You want to dismiss them because I'm the only one here. I don't know what the other baby daddies are doing. But I know what this one did. He brought kids food for his kid. She has to come up with a better solution. She has to come up with better people skills. If she knows her situation and she needs assistance, you get more flies with honey. Like, that's not how you do it. Like, she can get in the house and talk all the noise she wants to about him. I don't know. Even if she would have told him that yesterday, the day before. This could be the 5th day in a row. She's like, can you bring food for the other kids? And he said no. Let's say that was a situation. Still not his obligation. Would it be a nice gesture? Yeah, we all can agree that would be a nice gesture. That's not his obligation. I'm done. She's trash.
It's too many women that commented on that post who have had dudes that just bring them food only and not the kids. They ain't have no problem eating that fried shrimp in front of them kids or them crab legs. But now they want to get on there and argue about the kids not. Man, shut
the fam don't get cheddar biscuits. Fam ain't going to Red Lobster.
I hit.
You know, it was just sad to me. I was just like,
it's almost like our pro-choice conversation though. Like, he has the right to make that decision. Like, yeah, it would have been good if he brought enough for all the kids. And like I said, depending on my relationship with her and everything that's going on, and I have the money to do it, I'll do it. He ain't obligated. He obligated to that one kid.
And if he goes back tomorrow and does it, is it out of the goodness of his heart? Is it because he got bullied into making sure his child ate? Like, think about it.
Definitely be bullying. Yeah.
It's like, my kid can't eat. And so I got to feed everybody else that she obviously has not had this conversation with before, or they're not doing whatever. Her expectations they're messed up. So
an entitled beggar. How you gonna be begging and entitled at the same time? That's wild.
And your lash is trash.
That's the second video.
And so if he doesn't show up tomorrow, I wonder what he did the next day.
Yeah. And that a lot of times you'll see, when women are like, oh, the guys aren't there. It's very easy to push a guy away where he just stops coming around.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not excusing it. I'm not saying it's what should happen, but a lot of times guys just don't want to deal with. It's like I don't want to deal with her, so I'm not going to come around. I'll see you when I can't see you type thing, but I'm not going to be dealing with this every time I come around and argue and all that.
Yeah, we want to put this perfect world thing on.
Why would you buy food and bring it back over there when she threw it on the ground? So if you're going to spend $10 tomorrow, if you're not going to buy food for all 4 kids, she's not going to give it to your son. So why buy it and take it over there tomorrow so she could throw it on the ground and turn the camera on again? Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, I mean, and Razi, that's what I was thinking of. It can be so one-sided, and we want to go at these men for being deadbeat dads or whatever the case be. And I'm not making excuses. And the question is like, what would it take for me to walk away from a relationship with my wife and my kids? Because you're still a human. You deserve inner peace. And you can only take so much, especially if you know this person is not going to change. They're dogging you about in front of the kids. Do you just keep, taking the lashes just to say you did? Or save your inner peace and hope for a better day and growth or whatever the case may be, and you're there whenever the child's ready? Now, I'm not saying every deadbeat dad does that, because once again, remember, she says, everybody thinks you're such a great father. So there's a perception that this dude is a great dude. Like, everybody else says you're such a great dad. But I know the truth. Do you know what a great father looks like? Obviously not, because it seems like you made bad decisions before. And they made bad decisions again with you too. So I'm not just making her the bad guy, but do better. All right. Like I said, that was a fun conversation. And since I'm still recovering from that joke earlier, Razi, I think we're all recovering from that whole story. The rumors are that was fake. Are you guys hearing the same thing, or that was staged, I guess?
It was a skit.
Yeah, but it sparked a lot of conversation, though. I'm seeing that more and more. Like, I think you posted something on Facebook, Byron, that it was a text message thread or whatever, and people are starting to say that people are doing that where they're texting like their friends so that they can screenshot it, so then it can cause all of this controversy. But the one you posted was about like gold digging chicks, so I'm pretty sure that one actually happened. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
It's funny when I was reading some posters like, well, we don't know any chicks like that. I'm like, it's weird that men don't know bad dudes and women don't know bad women. Well, I don't hang around dudes like that. But every woman seems to end up with one, and same thing with women. We all know the gold diggers. There's a whole song made by them. So. All right. What else you guys got? Who wants to go?
Well, this question kind of was asked. I guess you can kind of call it a listener's question. But they brought up when R. Kelly was first, not even just when he was first like put back in jail or whatever. Someone mentioned, hey, do you think someone like Rick James, with his behavior and things, would he survive in today's climate with the whole Me Too movement? And first, I just want to say, I think what Rick James did versus what R. Kelly did, like, you know, R. Kelly, that was wrong before Me Too. You know what I mean? Like, Me Too is about correcting, you know, women that are of the age to consent, but they still are being taken advantage of and subjected to everything in between, from rape to just sexual harassment. So my question is, do you think Rick James, who was once, he served time for kidnapping a woman, making her his sex slave, assaulting another woman who was a music executive at the time, with someone like him going off of the stories Charlie Murphy even told about just licking women's faces in the crowd or being behind the bar and pulling her titties out, would someone like that survive in today's Me Too climate? Or will we turn the other eye still? Because I think Me Too has hit.
Are they?
I think Me Too has hit the movie industry and a lot of other, but it seems like it hasn't hit the music industry that hard. Like, I know Russell Simmons had a little something going on, but I don't know if it's hit the music industry that hard.
I think what ends up happening a lot of times, and unfortunately, it takes one person to come out and say that it happened, and then you start to see that pile on of the person, right? Like, other people come out and say, yeah, that happened to me, that happened to me, that happened to me. And so that's what happens. I think a lot of times what happens is regular guys don't have access to do it that many times like that, or they don't have that perceived power to get to me, you know, to be able to be Me Too'd. You have to have a modicum of power for that Me Too movement to really care. Me, you, Ferg, we're not going to get Me Too'd. We don't have enough juice to get Me Too'd, right? Like, if somebody did come out at us, it's not going to make national news, so it's not going to snowball. We haven't had a chance to be in a position of power with that many people to be able to say we're making a big, huge difference. So I don't think that it's necessarily not happening today or in like the music industry or anything like that. I really just think it's the span of how many people they were associated with, that may have had. I think what ends up happening is, like, with rappers and artists and in music and stuff like that, I think there's that expectation that it's there. So it's not as much of like, oh, I didn't expect it, or you know, he used that his stardom to get this for me. It's almost like I wanted to give it to him. So it's not like a Me Too type thing. And so they're getting it so much over there that they don't really have to worry about, you know, getting it from the secretary or somebody in the office type thing. So I think it's happening differently.
Do you think it's more of an understood exchange? Like, women that want to be artists, they know there's a good chance they may have to. So you're talking about the artists, not the fans? Yeah, the artists.
Yeah, and I think that, like, Rick Ross has said it, right? You want to be on my label, you basically you got to sleep with me, like, type thing. I have a couple artists that they're like, you know, yeah, they're like, I could have had a deal yesterday or years ago if I had just slept with this person. Yeah. Like, so, like you said, it's kind of understood. It's not necessarily a Me Too, because you didn't like just drop this on me. It's like, look, here's what it is. If you want my services, they come with this. So
wow.
Wow. Buddy just said pick up on aisle one. Like, wow. Wow. When you pose it that way, I think the music industry is a very unique beast. Because for one, we're talking about rappers and all, like, females. I think there's very limited female artists
in rap, but you got to think R&B and like other genres that there's probably more female artists than male artists. So and that happens just as much in that. I mean, I don't want to kind of just only look at rap, because that happens in, I think, all of the different genres.
Well, let me take a step back. Rick James. Let's go back to the original question. Would Rick James survive? My initial answer wants to be no. But in the world we live in today, how everything is just so... I wouldn't be surprised if the chick he kidnapped went live. This, she started off, I got kidnapped OnlyFans page. I don't know. Like, I feel like there's so many people craving attention and stardom that, it's part of the culture, sadly. I'm not saying, so there's a chance that could have been a thing. And maybe I'm not going to say she's going to go live and all this stuff, but it's something. But at the same time, if it was an average young lady who went to a concert or whatever the case may be and got kidnapped, I don't know the details of how it happened. Remember the details of how it happened. I don't think he would have, if that's his biggest offense, I don't think it would have necessarily he would have got Me Too'd, because there is this perception of music artists. It's once again part of the culture. If you take the biggest movie star, you take Bill Cosby, and you don't think that's what Bill Cosby would do, because he plays a role, he does all this stuff. But R. Kelly was telling you who he was. Take the pedophilia out of it. He's a very sensual and sexual artist. So if you go to his dressing room and R. Kelly's trying to smash, why are you surprised? Why are you surprised? There's this whole legends about all these rock stars, rappers, and all. That's what goes on behind stage. Not saying it's right. It's, it'll be a lot of victim blaming. Why would you go to his dressing room? If they went to a dressing room with a bunch of other Rick James case, I guarantee if he would have raped or somebody, there was probably 10 other chicks in that dressing room with the band getting smutted out. You're the only one that wanted to say no. You're the only one that said, why didn't you leave? Why, we were victim blaming. I think, even though we would believe them, we just wouldn't. I think that'll be a harder case to prove. We believe that they had sex and stuff like that, but maybe not he raped you or sexually assaulted you or something like that. Because dog, he gets 1 million women. Why would he sexually assault you? There was 10 other chicks back there. Why did you think he sexually assaulted you? Unfortunately. Yeah, because it's part.
Yeah, and that comes down to a lot of people not understanding that you can take away consent at any moment. Yeah, right. She might have been down for it, and then she was like, you know what, I ain't down for this, or I was down for that, but I'm not down to do this with you. Yeah, and
Tupac.
Boom. Yeah, and boom. At that point, you have raped me, right? You've sexually assaulted me because I told you I was down to do vaginal. I didn't want to do anal, and you slipped in my butt. So at that point, that's sexual assault. Like little stuff like that, folks. Like listeners, you got to understand that's how it's very easy to slip into, pun intended, a sexual assault case. No, can't.
But I just think, I don't know. I feel like that's gonna be, because there's more out there. I mean, you can't tell me all these rappers, all these artists have not, and maybe they haven't. Maybe it's just that rampant is you can go. Tell the chick at the door to come in. You can leave.
Yeah, I think that's, and truthfully, going back to the initial question, I think they would be fine today, because I think they would just know the difference and they would know the limits of it, right? They wouldn't be wilding if they were 1970s and early 80s trying to do that exact same thing. No, they wouldn't make it. It just wouldn't happen.
I'm not giving them any more credit than these guys. I'm just saying I think it's the nanny. So
well, I'm just saying, yeah, it's what I'm just saying is, could they make it today? I think they would be smarter about what they do. Like you say, Ferg, I feel like it's like, oh, you don't want to do this? Hit the door, bring the next one. Because that's what a lot of new artists, and that's why you don't hear as much about it now, because they're smarter about it. They're like, oh, you didn't want to do it? Cool with me. That's why Drake put hot sauce in the condiment and tied it up. That's why Drake, like, at one point they were talking about like Drake had to like record you saying it was cool. Like it's like they are protecting themselves and they're still smutting it out like whatever.
He did the Chappelle show skit, the consent contract.
right. They're like getting to that point. So I think they would just be smarter about it. I don't think Rick James in the 70s and 80s would be trying to do what Rick James trying to do what he did then today, because that would not work.
I absolutely think he would survive Me Too. As a matter of fact, as I'm sitting here thinking, I can't think of one musical artist that's been Me Too. Not one. R. Kelly was not Me Too. He was arrested, tried, and convicted. Louis C.K., the comedian, was Me Too because he did things that he wasn't arrested for, but he was counseled for a long period of time. Harvey Weinstein, before he got arrested, he was kicked off his own board due to Me Too. R. Kelly, first off, we've been knowing about him since middle school, about rumors and things that he was doing, and he still was stepping in the name of the love. He wasn't Me Too. Chris Brown beat up one of America's sweethearts. Now all I'm hearing is how Flames, his new album, is. Dr. Dre just performed at the Super Bowl, and he is all but pretty much said yes, as he's like came out with an apology and other kind of things, that he abused Michelle, and even his ex-wife is throwing out some allegations of abuse or whatever. He just performed at the Super Bowl. I can't think of one musical artist that has been Me Too, and I think it's because, unlike the movie industry, if I'm not mistaken, there's kind of like some type of union. When you're in a movie, like you're in Screen Actors Guild or something like that, there's a union that can hold you accountable and, tell the studios to no longer hire you for work. Versus a musician, it's a lot of independence. Like, even if the record label drops you, if you have enough fans, with social media and all these different streaming ways to stream out things, if you're good enough, you still can get your music out there. And if your fans rock with you, I saw people right now saying, R. Kelly shouldn't be locked up and all this kind of stuff like that. Like, people still rock with him. So,
yeah,
I just don't know.
Boosie came out and said it.
Yeah, so I don't know if Me Too, I think it's much harder for Me Too to ever affect the music industry because there's very little people to hold them accountable other than like a major record label that just doesn't want the bad publicity. But hell, if your numbers are good enough, they'll ride that wave too.
So it might not be Me Too, but I guess it's more being canceled, and it's hard for artists to be canceled unless you step out against the Beehive. Unless you piss off the Beehive, that's about the only way. And maybe
Carrie Hilson, was she a victim of that? It seemed like ever since Carrie Hilson said, what did she say about Beyonce? I don't know. She said something, and she hasn't had like a hit since, if I'm remembering that correctly.
Yeah, and then it wasn't it like somebody else like Iggy Azalea or somebody like that, or somebody that went against Beyonce? I don't know, but don't do that. That's not smart. But maybe there's if one precedent gets set, like it takes just one artist to go down to open up those, because Me Too hasn't. Cosby was doing it for years. It was just like, it was all these things going on for years. And then once the floodgates opened, once that precedent was set, it was like, the movie industry, the television industry just started tumbling, so I don't know.
Yeah. Who was it? Giselle just got sentenced as well. Like Weinstein and all that group. Or Jeffrey Epstein or whatever his name was, his mistress, maid, whatever you call her. So she just got 30 years too.
He had the sex island, right?
Yeah. Jeffrey Epstein. That's it. Yeah.
All right. Razi, I have a question that kind of follows up on question from earlier, the conversation from earlier about Roe v. Wade. And it's more so not necessarily about Roe v. Wade. It's the expectations of corporations when it comes to public issues. Do you expect large corporations, even companies, your particular company, to make a statement regarding certain social issues? So Roe v. Wade, when it's, if there's a hate crime against the LGBTQ community, like, do you expect your company to come out to say something, or do you expect companies as a whole to come out and say something?
Yes, just like we said, everything is political. When it comes to corporations and companies, there's always a dollar to be made. There's always a profit to be had. There's always shareholders to please. And if they feel like they can make a statement that's going to make them look good, we saw it a lot with Black Lives Matter, even though it was a lot of empty words at the end of the day, but it made them look good at the time. I think corporations and companies will do that if they can get a little publicity from it, positivity from it.
So externally, an external statement. What about internally? Because, we spend more time at work than we do with our families sometimes, for a lot of us. And so it's because I know there could be some unrest in our workforce. Do you expect your company to make statements within the company?
What for the same reasons. Happy workers are productive workers.
Well, they're going to piss somebody off. Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
What Razi, you go, then I'm gonna hit up with a follow-up question.
Yeah, so
I think
that there's two answers to that, right? Do I expect them to do it? No, I don't expect them to do it. Especially internally, I don't expect them to do it. When they do it, it's a happy surprise. Like, oh, they made a statement. But like Byron said, for me, and being in HR, it rings hollow a lot of times. And unfortunately, from a lot of different, especially the external ones. I'm not even really talk about internally for my company, but like when I hear the ones externally, they ring hollow. I don't think I feel like they're just sound bites. I feel like they're just doing it because the pressure's on. They got to make a statement. So they make a statement, and because especially millennials, there's been all of this research on millennials want to work for companies that are politically active, that they feel like align with their values and their morals. And so the companies have to make sure that they still look like they align with the morals and of the employees, or potential employees. So they do that for that. And so I don't expect those. And truthfully, I'm almost to the point where I'd much rather them just not say anything and just do whatever they're going to do to react. I know a lot of companies came out and they said, like Roe v. Wade, they came out and said, we're expanding our travel assistance in our medical packages so that if you need to travel for whatever medical procedure you need, then it'll be covered by your company up to a certain amount, yada, yada, yada. That's one way of them being able to do it. And so those are the things that I want to see. Those statements and all that crap, I don't even really care about. What I want to see is, what are you doing actionable to assist your employees or, the community or people in general. And so that was one thing that I did look at the companies that actually made that statement and the ones that didn't say anything or offered no assistance for their employees. So those are the ones that I really look for. And that's the stuff that I expect or I want. But again, I don't expect any of it because I know what corporate greed is. And if like Byron said, if they can't make a buck off of it, if it doesn't make them look good, if it's not going to change the narrative, if it's not enough people making an uproar about it, that it's going to move the needle one way or the other, they're not going to make one. And I know that.
So, you answered that perfectly because I've seen that. So with that statement you made, how does that benefit the company? Let's say it's not BBVA. What is it now?
PNC.
PNC is based out of what? Oh, it's not based out of...
It's Pittsburgh.
Okay. So Pittsburgh is a pretty, conservative city?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
So would you expect when your headquarters is a conservative city, for them to make a statement like that, especially if, it's an international company, they have employees in Texas, they have employees everywhere where some of these things are illegal. Do they, or
I don't know if they're conservative. I think they're blue collar.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Midwest,
okay.
and so,
but
yeah,
this
they may be a little bit more liberal, but I think, like I said, I go back to companies are going to make sure that they are doing the thing that most of America wants, because when you look at it all comes down to what most of America, or what most of their constituents or their customers align to. And that's probably what they're gonna go with, right? And so they didn't make a statement about Black Lives Matter or anything like that until 70% or 80% of America started saying, "Hey, we got to do something about this," and police violence and everything, or violence against Black people. So now they make statements, right? LGBTQ, that was a huge thing, and when people started saying, "Hey, we want those rights," and most of America that's when they started making statements about it.
Now let me
say with Roe v. Wade. Most people actually didn't want to overturn Roe v. Wade.
Let me add to my answer too. It also depends on who's running the company too. Like, there are some companies that'll go hard in the paint for what they believe in. We saw that with Chick-fil-A. They stood their ground on how they feel about gay marriage. We saw that with Hobby Lobby a few years ago. So sometimes it depends on who's running the company, and they, will, even if it's unpopular, they'll say what they believe.
Okay. I agree. I was just saying, because I don't think I've seen companies, my company included, make that travel statement. And I don't know why it was a shocker to me. I was like, okay, that's cool. They're listening to what I feel like you guys said, the average or the majority of the people feel, because they could very easily, once again, save dollars by saying, hey, whatever your state says, we support states' rights and yada, 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 and kind of, or not said anything at all. And if you read it in the plan and the benefit package, you knew it was there, but I think they went out of their way to make sure that we knew it was there and how to seek that assistance. But I think, Byron, you hit on something when you spoke about Hobby Lobby and Chick-fil-A. It's, unless you're adamant and you have certain people who are just, this is our beliefs and we're sticking to it no matter what the majority believes, then it's easy to kind of be on the right side of history, because if nobody says anything, you just shut the up and just keep letting the powers that be. And if the majority is speaking, you come out and craft your words very carefully, and you just say what they think is right. And there's a good chance that you think is right as well, because corporations are made of people. And it's not hard to say, you know what, I think them overturning Roe v. Wade is bad, and therefore let's support the people that think it's bad as well. So I think it's braver to go against the grain.
Is it though?
To go against the grain?
It's definitely braver to go against the grain, but I wanted to I don't want to give them too many kudos for just doing we're going to expand it, because I don't know, most of the companies that I saw expand like that access and the travel stuff, they never made a political statement against Roe v. Wade being overturned. So again, they're like you said, that carefully crafted message that I'm not going to touch anything in the political waters. I'm just saying I'm supporting my people to help them wherever they need help, but I'm not taking a stance one way or the other. So they still are towing the line, and making sure that they don't actually take a stance on whether it's
so
they agree or not.
Should they speak out? Because what is their voice?
That kind of is taking a stand, though.
Because what is their voice?
Yeah.
Because the thing about it is, actually, when you think about it financially, would you rather PNC make a stand against Black Lives Matter, piss off the majority of their customers who are All Lives Matters, and now they're downsizing because they're losing money, they're not as profitable, but they did speak up for Black Lives Matter, and Razi's proud of his company for taking a stand. It's, who matters is it when it comes to those views or those internal views, them saying Black Lives Matter is great. Thanks. Oh man, my company put a Twitter post out there that says Black Lives Matter. Awesome. We go under. They don't do nothing for me. Now, if they're saying, hey, they recognize Black PTSD or whatever, and they do something about it, that's more beneficial to me than that random stance. So I don't know what should we expect from companies.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I say. I agree. It's good that they did those things. It's good that they offered those benefits and everything, expanded benefits, did what they could. But I don't want to give them the 100% good job, guys, kudos, when they didn't take a stance.
But I think it's the same reason we have to be careful in taking a public stance.
Yeah. I mean, I can't talk negatively about my company on this podcast because I still want my job at the end of the day. So, that's the same thing. I mean, I understand what they're doing. I'm not knocking them for it. But again, it's like, I can't 100% rock with them because they didn't take the stance.
But then what are your expectations then? I mean, if they did as much as they could within reason without jeopardizing themselves or your job, what you want to say, defund the police? What would give them, what would get you behind them 100%? Like, do we have really, it goes from do we expect anything to if they do, what do we expect? Because we always talk about what do we do? How many of us speak out? Do we stand up in the boardroom when we see an infraction or something like that happen? How much do we speak out? The whole statement, my company made a statement and it made me think about it. It's like, oh, this is cool. We were on the trip and like, oh, yeah, that's interesting. Because I know some companies are going to avoid it by all means. They might tell the management to, if you have any questions about our program, get with HR. But they're not going to come out and put that out publicly, at least to the staff. So,
yep, I agree. I mean, and I'm again going back to the whole. I don't expect really anything out of them, right? So when they do it, it's gravy. That's nice. I mean, and so. And I have to look at it in totality, right? Because there's so many different issues out there. Like you said, I can't have my company speaking on every last issue that's out there every time something comes up. So you just got to take the wins where you can. And so I think there is that continuum there. It's not an all or nothing. But I will say if they never did anything to support any of the things that really mattered to me, I couldn't connect with the company and I probably wouldn't be able to stay there. Same way with most millennials and what we see from Gen Z is they really want to connect with the company on their values and morals, not just on, the bottom line and whether I got a job or not.
So what all do I have to speak on? I mean, there's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot out there.
Yeah. And that I think that's different for every person, right? I mean, there are people who don't care anyway. So they don't have to speak on anything and they're still going to come to work. Okay. There's folks that's like, hey, this is the one that I really want them to make a statement on. I know. And those are the ones usually that they're big enough and large enough that the company probably is going to do it. Right. And then there's those folks that's like, hey, they need to speak on every last one of them that comes out. I want to, every time there's a black person shot by police, I need a statement from the company. If not, they don't really rock with black people and I hate this company and I'm just riding the clock. So, there's going to be that continuum all the way around and each person's going to be different. For me personally, I like where PNC is. I will say that. And so, I rock with them. They're doing the right things. They're coming out when they need to come out and speak when they need to, when I feel like they need to speak. And I think that's another thing about me. I'm high enough up in the company that I can raise my hand and say, hey, I think we need to make a statement on this and it can get to the right ears, right? Like I can't make the call. I can't be like, yo, we need to, but I am connected enough in the company that if I do feel like we haven't done anything on this, why haven't we? I can go to what we call EBRG, employee business relationship groups. I can go to my EBRG and it's almost like a mini union inside the company, and we can actually raise that to executive management. So that's another thing. People, get in like groups like that. Get into like service organizations inside your companies to be able to have that voice inside your company. So then you can raise concerns when a concern comes up that you do feel like the company needs to address.
Works for me. All right, fellas, had fun this episode. So let's go ahead and close it on out.
All I got, man, is summertime is hard for a lot of parents out there. One or two things: either the kids are always there, and so you're trying to kind of figure out what to do with them, or like this week for me, it's been weird because my kids are gone, and I kind of miss them. So and they're gonna be gone for 2 weeks. So I'm just trying to figure out what to do with my hands. But parents, enjoy this time with your kids, man. School's gonna start back in almost a month, so it flies by. Enjoy the time with the kids, man. Go out, do something with them. Make those memories with them, and get ready for school because it's coming.
I just want to say that I'm a little disappointed in everybody that didn't tell me about this Tiny Desk series. I just discovered it last week. And every time I say this, the person I'm sending it to is like, oh, you didn't know about it? No, mother bleeper. Did you ever mention it? No, none of you mentioned it on social media, okay? I know about Versus. I know about all these different concerts. I know about what Lizzo wore. Never heard any of y'all mention Tiny Desk at all until the whole Usher clip came out. And I'm like... No, because I've shared Anthony Hamilton with you. Don't like him.
I've shared T.I.'s with you.
No.
T.I.'s was dope, too, if you haven't watched his.
I don't remember that.
I've shared his with you.
No, you didn't. I need to see proof of that. Anyway, I have found some gems. It's very dope. So yeah, I'm late to the party on that. But it's a good series. Other than that, we purposely did not, or maybe we did. Did y'all wish them a happy 4th last week? Well, I didn't, and that was on purpose. America, if you follow us on social media, like I implored you guys to do earlier in the show, you would have seen our post. America didn't deserve a birthday this year. Sorry, no presents, no cake, no ice cream. Just go sit in your room and study. Because between the mass shootings and not being able to keep baby formula on the shelves and $5 gas, what you celebrate? Sit down, America. So,
independence.
Yeah. 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 I just felt like America needed to sit down this year. So other than that, another shout out to the Inspire You audience. Thank you guys for listening to us every Monday, 10 p.m. Central Time, 11 Eastern. Check us out. Download the app. It's free. Also check us out on any podcast platform. Subscribe. We love subscriptions. We love them. And just thank y'all for listening. We really appreciate it.
I don't have a lot. Had the pleasure of taking my family to SeaWorld this past week. Man, it's hot out there.
You ran into somebody too, right?
Actually, I randomly ran into Freddie. It was amazing. She sent Sanaya after me. And I'm sitting here. When she walked up, I'm like, and she had the biggest smile on her face. I'm like, who the Mexican baby is this? Like, it looks like Sanaya, but it can't be. Like, I'm just sitting there like, I love you, Freddie. But it just caught me off guard because I'm like, I kind of know this little kid. I feel like I know her. But somebody just sent their little Mexican baby over to say, hey, Ferg. And I just got nervous. And then I looked up like, where's your mom? And I saw Freddie with the biggest smile on her face. So that made my day. But SeaWorld has come a long way since I last went. I want to say we went when I was in AIT or something, Razi, or right around that time. But it's come a long way. And nobody told me that Shamu ain't there no more. That was I don't know why I thought Shamu was still alive. I felt like killer whales lived for 40, 50, 60 years, something like that. But Shamu's gone. I was a little disappointed. I felt old. But I'm dealing with it, people. I'm dealing with it. That was something I just assumed that would always be there. You know, you just...
Didn't they get rid of the killer whales after like Free Willy or whatever?
There's a documentary on Netflix called, I think, Blackfish or something.
But there's plenty of... They still got whales, killer whales, or orcas. I don't think they like to be called killer whales anymore. I think that's not politically correct. Don't get canceled by PETA and the rest of them peoples. But had a blast. It was a good trip. So if you get a chance, take your family to SeaWorld. So
make those memories, like I said.
Make those memories. They had rides, games, all the stuff. So, but talk to you guys next week. I had a blast. 3 brothers, no sense. You know what we do. 6 rules of podcast. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.